Hello, welcome. I am Gregory, the poor typist, and having a little hot cinnamon iced tea or sun tea, actually. So, very quickly, we are going to. The topic for today is size matters. So, we're going to be talking about, standards, portables, ultra portables, what you prefer, and is kind of a fallback topic. So we're free to talk about anything really, but that's the fallback topic. We do have a couple of people waiting already in the backstage, so let me get them added. All right, welcome.
Hello.
How are you?
I am good.
Very good.
Doing good as well.
I like your OBS setup there. Yeah. All right. So, two new faces to the stream, so that's great. Welcome, and yes. So now it's kind of silly, but I'm going to ask you, Ted, to tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, I wasn't expecting this. Well, I am a human being on planet Earth, and I like typewriters. Let's see, I have one here. This is a nice one.
Ooh.
And I like to do research, and I like to fix typewriters, and I like to put dates
Hey.
on them. So,
Hey,
Hi, Joe.
Hey, Ted.
oh wait, this way. No,
It's like the
that
Brady
way.
Bunch. Excellent. And David, tell us a little bit
David.
about yourself.
Yeah. So I'm a typewriter collector, writer. I've been collecting for about a year and a half. I started with a Royal letter writer. Now I think I'm up to 40. I'm not sure though. So, and yeah, I love typewriters. I love sending correspondence. Typewriters are too expensive now, I think.
Yeah, definitely. It's interesting that you mentioned correspondence. I actually run a Facebook group called Typewriter Pen Pals, so you might consider that. Yeah, are there particular people you write to, or just pen pals?
I write to Joe.
Excellent.
Yeah, I think there's one right there. Friends, family. I mean, anybody. I did a 2 weeks notice on a typewriter. That was awesome.
Well, this was going back to my teenage years and my first job, but I typed up my I quit as of today letter. And welcome back, Joe. Glad you could join us again. Oh, I think you're muted.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
There
Good
we
to
go.
be here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I try to mute my audio when I'm not talking because if there's any background noise. But hey, you like my nice pink headphones? That's my computer needs a headphone with three prongs, 3 rings instead of 4. So that it'll use the mic jack. If it sees 4, it thinks it's a microphone in there with it. So anyways, I didn't have one. I had to borrow from my wife. So there you go.
I don't think we would have noticed. Oh, we lost him actually. That happens sometimes. I think his connection is loose. He's going through one of his cameras. So if he bumps the cord, it kicks him out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. All right. So do you guys have a preference for size?
Well,
Yeah.
I like portables and ultra portables. In between, like the Swiss I just showed you is somewhere in between an ultra portable and a portable.
Yeah.
I like Brothers a lot, the JP ones. That's kind of the size that I like for carrying around and typing in random places.
Yeah. How about you, David?
I think it depends on what you're doing, but I love portables. One of my favorite machines to write on, though, is the Royal HH, which is a tank,
Oh yes, yes, yes.
because you really feel. I mean, when you hit that carriage return, you really feel it. It's just there's a indescribable feeling of using a Royal HH. So I guess it depends on the mood. Like if I want to write an angry letter, I'll get out the Royal HH. If I want to write something less, maybe the Underwood 7.7 noiseless, because that's got no slap to it.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned the big standards. I have a Royal FPE, and it's one of those enormous beasts, and it also has a hard platen, of course, and I can put 3 backing sheets, and it will cut through every single sheet. So I have to use a very, very light touch on it. So, yeah. And Joe, I suspect I know what your answer is. What size do you prefer?
He's frozen.
He's frozen. I think he's frozen. Oh no.
Elsa got to him.
Yeah.
It's Albuquerque, right?
All right. Hopefully he's coming back here.
Yeah. Hey. Okay. Hey guys.
There
Yeah.
he is.
So, I like. I've used all different kinds of typewriters, but I guess my setup is more conducive to smaller ones because I don't really like to type in one location in my office. I had an SG3, Olympia SG3 for a while. I had an IBM Selectric 2, I think, or Selectric 1. And I have a couple big daisy wheel machines, and they take up a lot of room, right? And I like the portability of smaller machines. Of course, I happen to have the Groma Calibri on the desk right now, but that's really for testing purposes. But one of you guys mentioned just a while ago about platens and that you had to put paper in it and, to keep it from poking holes through, and it still does it. But I just yesterday got this in the mail, the Lettera manual. Thank you, Ted.
You're welcome.
It says right in the manual that it recommends the user use a backing sheet, even when the typewriter was new. When you aren't using carbons, right? Because it prolongs the life of the platen. So there's a little tip, right? Maybe we should always use a backing sheet, even with a good machine.
Yeah. I know last week we were talking about using a Mylar sheet as a backing sheet.
Yeah, I haven't tried it yet, but
okay.
Yeah. So getting back to the letter earlier. Yeah, David writes a really nice letter, and I like his letterhead, and it's pretty cool. I don't know if you can see that part of it there, but anyways. Yeah, David, you type a really nice letter and you have a nice signature on the end of it. So
thank you. That's the this is an English fountain pen that double bold palette. What's called the Parsons. I think it's called the Parsons.
Oh yeah.
And the paper is Eagle vintage typing paper.
Oh yeah. I can focus on it here.
There we go.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's nice.
Thank you.
Looks like a flex nib, right?
That actually, I signed using a Concord, All American. But normally I'll use the Parsons.
Yeah, I think
dork. I'm sorry.
I think in our first stream we were talking a little bit about fountain pens. It almost seems like the two typewriters and fountain pens go hand in hand.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
So since I diverted the discussion onto mail briefly, I'll show. I also got Gregory. I got your letter, your postcard.
Oh yes, my little postcard.
What's cool about this is it's a double postcard where you can detach the lower section and then it becomes another postcard, prepaid mailing that I can send back to him, which is pretty cool. I don't know where you get those. Do they sell them at the post office still? Or
I ordered it from the website, USPS.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's pretty nice. So it gives people an excuse to reply back because they already have postage prepaid, right?
Yeah, you have
That's-
no excuse.
No excuse. I like it. I like it.
Ooh, Godzilla.
Oh yeah.
Excellent. Yeah. I actually really love writing on postcards, but with typewriters you run into the issue, like with a glossy postcard like that,
Yeah.
you're gonna have trouble getting it to feed correctly through most typewriters probably.
Yeah.
I've even had problems with my modern Smith Corona SL480, one of the gray electronic ones. It does not feed postcards. I have some older typewriters that feed postcards better than that one does. So,
Right. Yeah, that gets back to the whole thing of using those adhesive labels.
Yes.
Right. And typing on the label, then cutting it out and plastering it on the back of a postcard. Yeah.
Yep.
So my friend Ethan, who you might have seen on my videos, a camera dactyl guy, he made this book of camera postcards. And this is one of these thermal label packs that, the people that are doing mailings,
Yes.
bulk mailings, they print out thermal labels. Well, he prints these thermal labeled images on just a black and white laser printer. And these are adhesive. They're adhesive stickers. So what you can do is then get a piece of cardstock or thick paper, type on it, and then plaster this on the front side and make a postcard out of it, a camera-themed postcard. And he gave me this whole book of different camera images that he's saved up over the years. So it would make a nice set of postcards, for that. So
Very good.
Well, Ted, what have you been up to?
Oh, well, I have been up to setting up this video camera so that I could play with you guys. And let's see. Well,
I'll be right back. I just have to get some more coffee. Sorry.
Yep.
Yeah, I should actually make some coffee, but
Let's raise our cup. Everybody raise their cups.
well, all I got is Gatorade. So. I want coffee now.
That's right. Yep.
While we have
Okay.
a little downtime here, a couple streams ago, I had mentioned, I believe, to Joe that
we lost Joe
we
again.
lost him again. This says I was going to show him something we had discussed previously. Let's see. Yeah. So, how do you drink your coffee, David?
Out of this mug that says cocaine.
That says so. Now I'm guessing you drink it black.
Yeah, straight up.
Yep. The cocaine that suggests that to me, that you just want the pure essence of the coffee.
This I found at a thrift store, and it says cocaine on one side, and then it has
The
a
skull and
skull and
crossbones.
crossbones. And it's from a series that they made in the 70s, and there you can get heroin, morphine, and I was like melting butter in this thing, and then I found out that it was worth like over $100.
Wow. Wow.
My cat's having a hairball.
Oh no.
Well, so I drink, I usually use an AeroPress for coffee, but I'm using my espresso machine. So I have some espresso with hot milk, sweet milk.
Okay.
And I guess I should show the other side of the cup, the Roswell, New Mexico side of the cup.
Yes. And go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I'm actually drinking tea, so. Yeah, so I was going to show you, and I'll go big screen here just for a moment, I believe, if I can. No.
Go large.
I'm trying.
Go large or go home.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Come on now. There we go. Okay, so I was talking to Joe about my very, very small collection of postage related to typewriters. So this first one, I think it's from Poland.
Oh. Yeah.
This is what's called a first day cover. So basically, they put it on an envelope, generally printed with artwork, and then they put a postmark on it, and they do that on the very first day it's released. So, and these are pretty highly collectible. The first day covers. Another really nice one. I should take it out actually. This one is from New Zealand.
Nice.
The Beatles.
The Beatles.
Yeah, so that's a nice one. And then the last one, and this one is just truly a piece of artwork.
Wow.
Oh
Oh,
wow.
that's very pretty.
Yeah.
Walter Lippmann. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. I do want to check to see if I can get more of those, but it's easy enough on eBay to search for typewriters and stamps or postage stamps, that sort of thing. So just a little collection I started.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
How's everybody's thrifting been going?
Our what?
You're thrifting. Are you having any
Oh.
luck lately?
Zero.
Yeah.
Zilch.
Well, I got the Olivetti Studio 45 a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I paid more than I used to pay, but I think that's just the way thrift stores are now, at least around Albuquerque. It's,
Yeah.
I think all the thrift store owners and people that sell are pretty savvy now. They go to the internet to see what things they think things are worth. So, I paid less than $100, but not much less, but it was in really good shape, right? So,
Oh, yeah.
and it's not that common of a typewriter around here.
It's funny that you mentioned that, Joe. I recently got Smith Corona Classic 12 at a thrift store, and when I went in to look at it, they had a printout of an eBay listing with the price that it sold for.
Yeah.
So they're saying, okay, this is what it sold for, but we're going to give it to you for half of that.
Yeah. We're giving you a deal.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
when I was working on my my Galaxy 12 last week, I had the original paper CD slipcover and the receipt and all that when I first bought it like 6 years ago from a thrift store, and I paid $15 for it, 6 years ago.
Yeah.
So the used typewriter market has definitely changed in 6 years, I think.
Yes.
You can still get deals, though. We have,
Yeah.
I think the last time I went out, I did see, I got that EP22 for,
Yeah.
I think it was $6, something like that. And I still see it's just luck, basically. I mean, I still
Yeah.
see good machines for $8 or
Right.
$5. It still happens, but
Well,
and
I
if
think,
you if you look at the Facebook groups, you see people all the time picking up machines for that cheap.
I think it depends, Ted. I'm looking up at Ted. I think it depends on your, like the Brady Bunch. I think it depends on your area that you're in.
Yeah,
because
definitely.
I've been to Mesa and I know that area, that there is some really good thrift stores that are big but not fancy antique stores, But around here, it's a little different. There's some really junky stuff that you'll never find a typewriter at. It looks like throwaway stuff. And then there's things that are more like pseudo antique stores, and they try to raise your prices from there. So, yeah.
Yeah, here in Southern California, thrift stores are pretty much a waste of time. I think I've only found 2 or maybe 3. Well, 3, yeah, because the Classic 12. So that would have been my third that I actually got at a thrift store. The majority of the rest were either eBay or Shop Goodwill, and then I think 1 or 2 from antique stores.
Yeah. I saw somebody just bought a Groma Calibri on Shop Goodwill for like $400.
That's craziness.
Yeah.
I bought one typewriter from Goodwill auction, and when it arrived, it had exploded. And I said,
Oh no.
and so
Oh no.
I'm in the Chicago area, so it's
Yeah.
Sometimes if I go over to Indiana, it's okay. But this may sound bad, but using Craigslist seems to be better than using Facebook Marketplace, because people who are still using Craigslist may not be as hip to how
Yeah.
expensive things go for now.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well,
Yeah, I got my first Hermes 3000 from Craigslist in 2010.
wow.
And, the first day I was looking for one, it was right there for $50.
Wow.
Wow.
It really jump started my whole into the typewriter thing really
Yeah.
quickly.
Yeah.
Finding that. So
That's
Now,
cool.
What
it's
was it? One of
actually
those?
over there.
Oh yeah, yeah. Was it one of those that they said, "Oh, it's not working. It's for decoration"?
No, he just offered it up on Craigslist, and I called on it and arranged a meeting to go ahead and get it. And 5 minutes after that, he said someone else called and wanted it, and I just got in there 5 minutes earlier. So
Wow.
that was at that time I didn't know how lucky I was, but I was pretty lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've gotten 2 typewriters on Craigslist. The best one was the Smith Corona, the Corona Standard, the flat top, from the 30s. I paid $100 for it, but it's in mint condition, and the guy had used it in college in the late 70s, and his dad used it in college in the late 40s. So kind of a cool story. But then I bought a Smith Corona Corsair, those old plastic, teal green plasticky things, and I paid way too much for it. It was a piece of junk. It was sort of the Skywriter mechanism, but a lot less build quality. And
It's a great machine to test repairing Skywriters on. So
yeah. I ended up selling it to somebody from the typewriter group. So I was going to say, by the way, about letters, I got one from Michael Arau from Tacoma, Washington recently, and he does a wax seal. He actually makes his letter into the envelope. He just folds it up and puts a wax seal on the back, and then addresses the front side. So that's pretty cool.
So I have a ring for that they.
Oh yeah.
Here, let me make you big here real quick.
All right, yeah. This is from a catalog called Townsend's. And they do
nice.
like 18th century, and it says Memento Mori, which is remember
Yes.
that you die.
Yes.
I don't know why I would send that to somebody.
you're weird.
Wow.
Here's my fossil wallet tin that I've had for years, and it has sealing wax in it, a little kit, and mine has the V for Van Cleef little thing, and a little stamp that has like a trefoil chop that I put on my letters sometimes. But that's my little sealing wax kit. Yeah.
Does that mean I have to go get my kit now?
Yeah, you have to, Ted. Yeah.
Okay, be right back.
No, I love it. It is so nice when you send a letter to people who are not into typewriting.
Yeah.
I've found, that they're like, and they write back, I think, a written letter or something. It's just nice because you forget that, it's something physical. You put work into it. Little touches like stamps and wax seals. I'm all about it.
That's good. I appreciate it.
Pull up the second camera here.
Wow.
Production.
Yeah, high tech there.
We're fancy.
Let's see. There it is.
I'm gonna have to break out my art box now.
So yeah, I've got the. Let's see if you can see it right there.
Yeah.
The sun. That's my wax seal. Some of my candles. And there's my chop. I don't know if anyone can actually see that, but it is.
Yeah, it doesn't want to focus.
It is. Yeah, it's my chop. It's really small, so. If I write you a letter, you will see it.
Very good.
Very cool.
Oh, there's my date stamper. Ah. I forget all the stuff I have in here.
So do you think collecting typewriters and being sort of stationary geek go hand in hand?
Oh, absolutely. I don't see any other way to do that.
I know, huh? Let me zoom in on that, Joe.
That's
There we
my
go.
chop.
Ooh, that's
Chop.
very nice. Very nice.
Yeah. That's from some kind of medieval era trefoil symbol,
Very good.
which I got at Hobby Lobby, which doesn't really fit the medieval thing very well. But,
It kind of does, though.
yeah, maybe it does.
Got anything, Greg? Any?
I'm not sure where it is. I don't have a wax seal, but I hand carved rubber stamp, a fairly large rubber stamp. It's so I live in Riverside, and
Okay.
our city symbol is called the Rain Cross. It's really cool. It's basically a bell with kind of a post that goes up that has a double cross on it.
Okay. Nice.
It's kind of kind of honoring the missions, and then also the Native American history of this area. So it's kind of a blend of those symbols. So I hand carved it out of that pink rubber stuff, and I stamped that on the back of letters. So unfortunately, I've been moving things around, so I'm not even sure where it is right now. Oh yeah.
That's funny.
But I've been meaning to get into oh, we lost Joe again. I've been meaning to get into the wax seals. My wife has one, but it's I think it's like the crescent moon or something, which is kind of a generic one. But sorry, just adding Joe back in. But I'm being very picky in the wax seal that I want to use. So I haven't found the perfect one yet that screams Gregory. So how did you guys come about choosing your wax seals? Oh, Joe's showing something there.
Oh, this is my friend Ethan 3D printed me a signature stamp. This is kind of my little JOE with my date, but it's 3D printed out of the plastic resin, and it's just not a great stamp. It's not nearly as good as rubber. But, but then, so that's just an experiment in 3D printing, really. Anyway, sorry, interrupted you there, Gregory.
No, that's okay. That's okay. Actually, that makes me think of one of the first stamps I tried carving was just out of wood, but you run into the same issue where it's a hard surface, so you're not going to get that perfect imprint. But at the same time, that you could get kind of an interesting effect doing that.
Right.
FlexCut makes a nice set of whittling tools. They probably use.
Oh yeah, excellent. Yeah. So
what do you got, Ted?
Oh,
if you've had letters from me, you've probably seen this.
I've seen it. I have seen it.
Excellent. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think if you use linoleum block printing, you could probably make some pretty nice stamps, right? Yeah. Which I'll probably do eventually. So I know somebody was making typewriter stamps for a while, right? Getting them professionally made. Somebody on the Facebook group or something like that.
That was Nick Taranian, I think, for a long time. He was the graphic artist who laid out etc. And he was a blogger for a long time. You know him from the Typosphere.
Yeah, right.
He hasn't really posted in a long time, but he was doing the typewriter stamps for a long time.
Right. Yeah. Those are so there you go. Oh wow.
Yep.
So this is a piece from I did Paper Fingers last year.
Yeah, I remember.
Which was a gathering of writers and people in my collection. And this is from Sarah McNamara, who was the
Wow.
mayor of Rockford's wife, and she made this during the program.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So,
Wow, that's excellent.
and her daughter is named Olympia. So there you go.
How cool.
Wow. I think for my last birthday or something, my wife bought me an artistic wall hanging of a typewriter. I have yet to hang it. I'm trying to find. We don't have a lot of wall space because most of
You've
our
got
wall
a whole
space.
bunch of wall space right there.
You got tons of
I
wall
know.
space, Greg. I don't have any wall space.
Well, I was just going to say, we have so many bookshelves.
Yeah.
We do have a wall over here that is like all brick. So potentially there, but then you have the issues of hanging things. Paper fingers.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was from the Paper Fingers exhibit that David sent me like last year, whenever it was. Let me get it up here. Really a great piece of artwork.
I have more of those if anybody wants them. I don't know. Yeah.
I
But
would be
they're-
very interested.
Yeah, they're individually numbered by the artist Joe Chalmers.
Wow. Yeah.
Joe is amazing. Joe's done stuff for Wilco and Dean Ween and others.
Wow. Very cool. So sitting next to me here, I have one of my favorite typers, an Olympia
Oh, yeah.
SF.
Ah,
Yes.
And I was just typing it with it before. Very good.
I didn't know this was Olympia Day. I didn't get the memo.
yeah. No, I thought it was Swissa Day. So
Yeah.
It's a beautiful, they're wonderful machines, Greg.
It
Yeah.
really is. I absolutely love it. I am curious to get the Splendid series, which are essentially the same thing. But yeah, I just love the look of it, especially the chrome trim. Oh, what you got there, Joe? Yeah, that's your,
Calibri.
yeah,
The Calibri. I had to show. It's European, at least.
yeah.
And German, right? It's German. It's just the other side of the Iron Curtain, German.
Yeah. Another favorite is in this case. So, any guesses what it is?
Royal Eldorado.
Nope.
I'm always fascinated with Ted's guesses because he knows so much about typewriters.
Oh, yeah.
Royalite, same thing. It's exactly the same thing.
Well, it's not quite a Royalite.
Oh, it's not quite a Royalite.
It's essentially the same thing, but
It is exactly the same thing.
it's branded Companion though.
I have
wait.
I can go grab the exact same typewriter too.
Oh, yeah.
I've got
he
a
will.
companion.
But yeah, I recently got one of the older ones, the 40s era, I think.
Mm-hmm. This is a
Oh.
1941.
Okay, I think mine is 42.
Let's see. Desk cam. There we go. Companion.
Oh, is that the one you were saying essentially started the typewriter database?
No. The first. Well, actually, no. It would have been my 48 Royal QDL. That was the one that I didn't know how. That was the very first typewriter I ever bought.
Okay.
And not being able to date that frustrated me a great deal.
Yeah.
And so I kind of resolved to fix that.
And thank you for that. Well, because that's the first thing I do when I get my typer home is look up what year it was made.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it needed to be done, and I was in a position to do it. So, and I like doing it.
It must
So
be
I
very
said, rather than
rewarding.
collecting 4,000 typewriters, I would collect only 50 typewriters and collect a whole bunch of books. That was my thing.
My third typewriter was my last one. That's what I said. And then that was a Olympia SM7 or SM9.
Oh, yeah, love that.
Yeah.
Very good. Yeah, the interesting thing about this companion is it still had the, let me get it out, the little plastic that keeps the type bars in place.
the type bar flattener.
Yeah. Now this is what I describe as my James Bond typewriter, because it feels like a tank, and yet it kind of looks sporty. You know, I love
It is a metal
the look of
shell,
it.
so
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I love it. So that and the Olympia SF, those are two of my favorites.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
The only thing I don't like about the Olympia SF is I'm more of a basket shift guy. But I love how snappy it is.
Yeah.
Just pounding that every time, the shift. Maybe I'm just lazy, but I prefer a basket shift.
Yeah. I usually don't run into a problem because I chicken peck. So I know a lot of people, we don't have a lot of strength in our pinkies. So doing that basket shift can be a little tiring.
I think you have to goose step your fingers for a German machine. No, I didn't say that. No, never mind.
That's racist.
I know.
Oh my.
Well, I really appreciate their mechanics and their engineering, but they can be a little stiff, right? And sometimes, or a little, you need a little bit of strength, and I've talked about this a lot, though, about how, like the letter A problem, right? I always hear about people, newbies to typewriters, complaining about, the letter A skips. And it's always, if you're right-handed, which most people are, the letter A is the third most frequent letter in the English language, typed with the weakest finger of your weakest hand if you're a touch typist. And so that's why the letter A is always a problem with people, which is really funny, because I don't think when Scholes and Glidden came up with the QWERTY keyboard that they would have anticipated that, because they didn't do touch typing back then and all that. But it's kind of funny.
Another interesting note is that the letter A is the most often misaligned of the slugs, because it comes at an angle.
Yes.
Very far angled in Latin.
Yeah, that's right.
It's used quite a lot, and so it gets worn more than any other letter.
And it'll sometimes hit the type guide, and then that last moment, it'll kind of be hard to move, or sometimes it'll double strike or something like that, right?
Kusaba, 25%.
You're putting a piece of paper in there.
Yeah.
Are you going to do a live type cast here?
I'm thinking about it, but it'll be noisy. It'll make the table shake. So.
Yeah.
I might try it, but maybe too distracting.
Yeah, I could try it too, but it'll probably disconnect my camera just to the vibration.
I know. Your camera is very sensitive there.
Well, I'm using these older Panasonic cameras, and this one has the HDMI connector on the side of the camera is kind of wonky. Anyways.
Now, David, do you have a typewriter blog?
No, I don't. I just write letters mostly.
Okay.
I wrote a book. I just wrote a piece for the Agitator Gallery's post-COVID exhibition. So I use that in my work a lot.
Oh, okay. Very interesting.
So, David, there is the One Typed Page blog, if you're familiar with that, on the Typosphere. Yeah. So if you go to the Typosphere website, which I don't have the link to right now, I guess typosphere.blogspot.com, and go to the bottom, you'll see the roll of all the blogs that are currently posting articles. And there's a blog called One Typed Page, and it's a guy named Daniel Moreau. And what he does is you mail him a scan of one of your typed pages, and he puts it on his blog the next day. And so there's a whole number of people, including myself, that are starting to participate in his blog. So you don't really need to start a blog yourself. You can just type a one-pager about anything at all and put it on there. There you go.
Oh,
so there's the Typosphere, and then at the very bottom, below all the articles, is the blog roll right there, and one type page is the second one there at this right now. So So that's a good way to participate in blogging without actually starting your own blog.
Yeah. Did you guys get into backspaces? I didn't submit anything this time, but I did for.
Yeah. I
Last
did the first, or I think the first episode or first issue, but it was right at the start of the year, and I had an idea for a story, but I knew I didn't have time to finish it, and yeah, I didn't do it this time. But
I buy them all.
Yeah, I think I just have the first two. I would definitely like to submit, but usually by the time I find out about it, it's already being published.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I need to pay attention to the typosphere.
I know.
I started, but I always have a problem with writing about time travel because I'm too logical to think about. I'm trying to focus on the logistics of the paradox.
yeah,
I told Richard, I said, I started, man, but I just was defeating myself. I was like,
Oh.
I don't believe this. I'm not buying it, So I just stopped.
You could watch some Doctor Who for inspiration.
I'm a big Star Trek fan, so I mean, there's plenty of paradoxes there. But
Yeah.
yeah, you have to suspend a certain amount of disbelief in order to enjoy a time travel story. That's for sure.
absolutely.
Yeah.
You have to suspend your logic to write one.
Yeah, my story was actually going to be about. It was some arcane subject that I'm interested in. Is the rigid airships from World War I, the German Zeppelins, and it was going to be. I don't know if you guys knew about this, but there was a large ammunition depot explosion in the New York Harbor area in World War I, and it was caused by saboteurs, German saboteurs. And
I was thinking about that.
Yeah, and I was going to do a story that there was actually a real story that the Germans were going to fly a Zeppelin across the Atlantic and bomb New York, bomb Manhattan, in fact. Mm-hmm. And they only didn't do it because of the German naval mutiny that happened in 1918, right near the end of the war. But they had the range to do it because one of their airships they had sent from Europe down to Central Africa and back, and so they had the range. But that's what my time travel story was going to be, involving a Zeppelin and an old guy of the typewriter. And I don't know, I didn't go any further with it, but
I'd read it. Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, does anyone have any typewriter related projects going on?
Well, yeah.
I would think you always do.
Yeah, I got a couple books coming up. I'm mostly doing, right now I'm doing a lot of scanning of mechanical adding machine and accounting machine. I got literally boxes full of these service manuals and information, and so I'm scanning those in. Not that anybody cares, but it's gonna get done.
Yeah. Wow.
So that's what I'm working on now. I'm also doing a little rubber work, doing casting rubber for making Groma Calibre feet and Hermes 3,000 feet. So I have my green.
Oh yeah,
feet.
Whoever
nice
cracked the platen knob market, you're gonna sell a ton because I haven't found it yet.
There are a couple of people making the platen knobs in 3D printing, and they paint them because they can't exactly match the color, of course.
Right.
But they are available. And then Jacques Pierre in France. No, is he in France or Switzerland? I think he's in Switzerland. He's French and he's in Switzerland, and he has he's an old typewriter repair guy, so he's got this warehouse full of parts. So if you need a Hermes 3000 knob, you can order one from him. I don't know what it costs, but you can get an original from him.
Yeah.
So there are places to get them.
As far as for me, for typewriter projects, the agitator gallery, and there is also a it's a video that'll be coming out per a company out of Chicago called Soft Cage Films about COVID-19, and I wrote a poem on a typewriter, submitted it, called Taps, and that will be used along with some sort of interpretive dance.
Wow.
Yeah,
Very
that's cool.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think last week I had mentioned I work in a public library, and we're participating in the California State Library COVID-19 diary project. So we made these little zines that we could then digitize and put on the library website. So I made one, and I typed little quotes and stuff on colored paper, and I tore it out creatively and pasted it on the pages. So I was very pleased with it. That it did finally go live. So as of last week, it was not live yet, but a lot of libraries are doing this, participating in the California Library COVID-19 diary project. So it's very interesting. Mine kind of focused on just positive thoughts. Like I'm not gonna remember the quote, but it was a quote. Well, technically, Fred Rogers was quoting his mother, basically saying, "Look for the helpers." It's a famous quote. Yeah,
Right.
so that's one of the ones I used. Yeah, I love Miss Rogers.
So you work at a library?
Yes.
That's awesome. Yeah, who wouldn't? Man, it sounds like a great job.
Can you tell us to shh? Can you do that? Shh.
I was telling Joe, I think last week, that we don't really shush people anymore,
No.
because in the modern library, they encourage normal communication. You don't want people being loud, but we accept that people are. It's a library is a gathering place, so you want people to be able to talk. So that's kind of the new take. Plus, my library is located inside a mall, so
Wow.
yeah.
And libraries these days have 3D printers, so I mean, I don't know how you can keep it quiet.
Yes.
Laser cutters.
Yeah. We recently just opened a new branch, and we're the modern branch. There's a traditional library. The main branch is the traditional one. We're kind of the modern one, and now there's a high-tech one, and they have the two 3D printers and the little robotics kits and the the gaming machines and all that kind of stuff. So I'm kind of jealous of them now.
Well, my grandparents here in Albuquerque, their house was right across the street from the old public library that is now a special collections library. And I used to play over there. We'd go down there every weekend, and I would hang out at the library. And I was a library kid, And now the main branch of the public library downtown is the homeless people use the bathrooms there. That's kind of its function, right? And that's just part of the reality of urban life, right? But
so up in Chicago, they have the Harold Washington Library, which I think just reopened. Amazing facility. But I grew up. I would go down to the library all the time when I was a kid, and kids will never know about that. I don't. Maybe they will, Greg. Who knows?
Maybe that's why my video ideas little thing it's like a card catalog on a binding ring. And you were asking earlier, what am I doing? What are we doing about typewriters? Well, I have a whole list of video ideas that I'm still working on. But I was going to interrupt you and say that I showed this last week, but I've been playing around with these keyboards that are kind of like AlphaSmart Neos. And this one is the Writer Plus. And what I like about it is, you notice the profile, the screen is angled a little bit more toward the user than an AlphaSmart would be. And it's a little bit smaller of a footprint. I think if you saw my blog article last week, I put out a blog article comparing these two. But the problem with this keyboard, though, is you have to connect it via the infrared box that is hard to find. And so I'm hoping eventually to maybe reverse engineer something that would work for an infrared box.
I'm pretty sure those have like a ROM inside with the translation software for the alpha.
Yeah, right.
Because if you couldn't get a regular IR emitter to read,
no,
there's definitely a translation layer happening there.
Right. I think we could build a box that would convert it to keyboard signal, because when you plug this into the computer, it sees it as a keyboard.
Mm-hmm.
And so it just got to have a keyboard conversion box with an IR detector plugged in. I think we could do that. With some kind of, maybe an Arduino with some code or something. I'll have to get my friend Ethan to help me with that. He's a
have him image that ROM that's on there and see if you can get the code off of it.
Yeah.
And
but there's
able to do it.
Yeah, there's a number of these out there, and the thing I like about it is it's a little more full featured than the Alpha Smart Neo. Like, it has this quick write button that you can get to the F1 through F8 for brief, for quick typing, but it also has the regular F keys. You can have embedded file names inside each one, so it's like a layered folder system, right? Mm-hmm. And then the backup battery on the circuit board, instead of it being one of those coin batteries like the Alpha Smart has, it has a super capacitor on the board, so it's a little more reliable of a backup system, and it's still powered by 3 AA batteries, and it's still rated about the same as the Alpha Smart is. So it's a cool little device. I kind of like it in some ways better than the Neo. So it would be nice to see more people get those. So,
and speaking of that.
Oh yes, that's right. Yes.
Now this one has a different profile.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I like it, but I like the Alpha Smart Neo better.
Yeah.
The keyboard doesn't seem quite as compact.
Right.
Plus, it has a very nice touch. But here's the more modern infrared reader.
Is that the modern one?
Yeah, it looks like a mouse, but
it does.
Why did it come with a mouse? Yeah,
that's cool.
It's interesting that it puts it out. It doesn't just put out the text like the Alpha Smart Neos.
Right.
It formats it so that a teacher can quickly grade the writing.
Right. So you have to delete that stuff afterwards. Yeah.
It's like a speak and spell.
It's like a speak and spell, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Anyways, so that's what I've been doing, is messing around with those things. But I always got more ideas for videos. I'll be doing a couple of them this week, hopefully. So
okay. Excellent.
I am also sending you another slate, a Wander slate that you don't have yet. So
very cool.
Expect that in the mail along with the letter that I owe you from earlier this year.
Well, I owe you a tape. I
know.
I know. Well, I got an L200 Olympus Pearl recorder last week in the mail from Diane Mayer, and she said it was broken. And she wanted to know if I could send this up to my friend Mitch in Ohio, who's a tape recorder collector. Well, it turns out the little spring contacts in the battery compartment were not springy enough. And and also it has the 2 spring contacts on one side, and you would think that that's where the negative side of the battery goes, but it's actually they alternate. They alternate, right? So so I fixed it and it works. So I'm gonna probably send it back to her because I have her original box, and I already have one of these. I don't need a second one, so I'll probably give it back to her so then she can start doing tape exchanges.
Well, you need to record a tape and put it in there for her to listen to when you get.
That's
give it back
what I'm
to
going to do. Exactly.
There you go.
Exactly. Yep.
I have regular tape recorders. I have yet to get a micro cassette recorder, but the micro cassette recorder, those remind me of my grandpa. He always had one of those with him. He was a professor, so he always had that. And plus he did like tons of research too. So
here you go. Ted's breaking out something here.
This is something I found at a thrift store. It's a Sony digital tape recorder.
Yeah,
but it has memory inside, and it has no like USB ports, and it has no cards.
Right.
So it's basically actually a tape recorder where you record,
Yeah.
and then you have to play out the audio and sample that onto your computer, which is kind of interesting.
So Ted, I found an Olympus version of one of those in a city park, and I still have it. And the messages recorded on it are a series of phone calls by some drunk person, some guy, and he's fighting with his girlfriend.
You need to sample all that and send it to me.
I will.
So I can make a song out of it.
Yes, I will. I will.
I just want to show if anybody does any kind of transistor radios or.
Oh yeah.
This is called a Dream Sky. Not much. I think this is $14, and it has, of course, the analog tuner, and it is just amazing for what you get for the price.
Wow.
As far as tuning and quality.
Entire process with a free.
That's some high quality static there.
Yeah, I know. This is not going as planned. Anyhow, if anybody
leave it to Ted to say that.
These are fantastic. So if you're looking for something for AM radio, listen to the ball game or whatever. These are.
I love that sort of thing. Yeah.
I have one of these solar panels that'll power a little shortwave or AM/FM radio, and I was using it outside last weekend. We got bright sun. When we do have bright sunlight here in New Mexico, it powers a radio pretty good. That's kind of fun. No, there you go. A little solar panel.
Yeah, this is a USB battery that can recharge itself through solar.
Oh,
Stick it up in the dashboard, and it slow charges itself.
Wow.
But otherwise, it's just like a USB battery.
Yeah. Wow. Very cool.
Now
I just killed the conversation.
No.
Well, we can go on different tangents.
Now, David, I was going to ask you. I just when you were showing the transistor radio, I was visualizing you taking your little radio and one of your typewriters outside to type a letter.
Right.
Do you do anything like that?
I hate the outdoors. No. Like all of the rest of you guys, probably. Except for Joe. Joe's always walking around somewhere.
I know.
I have my office that it's very comfortable. I like to open the window.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm more of like kind of in the study with dark light. I have my Globe Wernicke bookshelf and Chesterfield here on the other side. And
yeah.
I think I just write inside mostly.
Okay. What about you, Ted?
I do like to go outside the house, not very far, but I'll go out and type on the patio, or maybe go to the park and do some typing.
It depends what time of year it is, right?
Yeah, definitely, because this summer has been harsh.
Yeah.
I have not been outside a whole lot this summer in Arizona in 120-degree heat.
Yeah.
The blast oven that's outside. So
I don't think we broke 100 this year. I don't think we broke it.
I hate you.
I know. Even here in Southern California, most of the summer was triple digits. Yeah.
So, David, I was seeing over your right shoulder behind you is a little statue of some kind on the back, and it reminds me that Ted has some kind of statue collection also.
Is that the alien?
Is that an alien, or is that? Yeah. What is that?
Yeah.
I know. I see.
Alien hot
From the in-laws.
It's the Invisible Man alien.
There you go.
Then also I've got these. These little old railroad men.
Oh, very cool.
This is something my grandfather made.
Oh,
oops, wrong one. Sorry.
That's okay.
made me bigger, and I don't have anything to say.
That's all right.
There you
wow.
go.
Yeah, this is an old whiskey bottle. or
Wow.
Walker whiskey.
Wow.
Very nice.
Wow.
That's very cool.
And these are little railroad models that I like.
Oh. I don't think I have anything like that. Oh, here you go. I have a.
A baby in a jar.
Yeah. I don't know what that's about.
Okay, I briefly lost control of the the studio software, but it didn't interrupt the stream, so that's good.
No,
Yeah.
that's funny. Now, I don't know if you guys seen this. I have the Zeppelin ballpoint pen. This is a 3D printed Zeppelin ballpoint pen.
Another.
Wow.
We found this at a garage sale, and I was like, "Why does it have a helmet?"
To protect its head.
It's like a wrestler.
Yeah,
That's funny. That is funny.
so I have all kinds of weird stuff, like in the office. No need.
Oh, yeah. Look at that.
Oh.
My little bobblehead Shriner.
Bobbleheadshriner.com. That's funny.
I'm so excited.
Too much coffee.
Oh, that reminds me. I need coffee. I'll be right back. You made me do it. I'm going hold.
Yeah, I can flip around to show you guys the other side.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, I like that lamp.
Yeah.
Very nice lamp. I have
Very
something
cool.
similar on my desk.
Yeah.
So that room is kind of what I imagine when I think of a writer's
Den.
study or den. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, lots of books, lots of stuff on the walls, lots of knickknacks, vintage stuff. Yeah, very cool. Very cool. Yeah, I'm just hanging out here on the couch. So.
Yeah, my office is all junky and cluttered and everything. So.
I think it's about where you are, and Joe's brought this up, regionally too. Like when I go to thrift stores or antique malls, I'm going to find different stuff than Joe's going to find.
Right.
Oh, probably a lot of older stuff, that, tins and cool things like that. I was up near northern Illinois, and I found an entire thing of typewriter tins, and I was just blown away. But they, $35 a piece for them. So.
Wow.
We have a new member to the stream.
Hi, Sarah.
Morning, gentlemen.
Hey.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Even
Hi.
longer.
Yay.
You guys are my.
Well, welcome.
Thank you so much.
So are you in your little office there, Sarah?
Yes, my tiny office in my tiny place. So I've got. You guys were talking about Olympias a little bit ago.
Yep.
And I have an Olympia Splendid. I was thinking to myself, send it up to, Gregory. Try it out. It's basically the same as the SF, right?
Yeah.
So this is the one I've got.
Oh,
Wow, that's beautiful.
that was the kind I had. I sold it away, sold it to a local person, but yeah, those are beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. It has really nice crisp type, and it's fun to use.
Yeah.
But lately, so maybe I should send it to Gregory to borrow for a while.
Yeah.
I would do that. Very cool.
Like a space bar carriage drag issue, and then we got that resolved. It was kind of a matter of taking the space bar up a little bit, and seeing the little star wheel or the dog wheel, whatever it is. So works great now. And I also got a Olympia SM3 this week, and it has a problem where the carriage drags whenever I hit the return. Have you guys experienced that? You know.
Go, yeah.
Ooh, nice. Okay.
Oh.
So Sarah, that carriage dragging can be caused by the little rubber bushings, right, between the chassis and the body. Sometimes they get compressed, and Ted knows more about that. Actually, right there.
I was going to say, but I was muted. Yeah, you need to replace when you pull the skin off the machine, the shell. You're going to have these little pools of melted rubber where the screws holding the machine together are. Those need to be replaced with like washers that are about not quite a quarter of an inch thick.
Okay.
And that'll raise the skin or the frame up enough that the carriage will clear the skin.
Thank you. So that's actually a fix, isn't it?
Yeah. So yeah, it's very common with the SMs.
Okay, that's wonderful to know. It sounds like an easy fix because I know my first machine I worked on was a Royal Light, and it drove me nuts. But it had sorry guys, but it had crumbling, dried up bits of rubber, and it was just apart. And every time I would open the case, and I opened that thing up 4 times to work on it, it was always couldn't figure out where to put the little washers and everything. So that's really helpful to know.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So do you have how many typewriters, Sarah, do you have in your little area studio right there?
Well, so
I see one down there or over there.
Count them up. So in my entire collection, including ones that I've sold, given away, etc., in the last 6 months since I started this, 24, I believe. This current pile is something in the neighborhood of 10, I want to say, but I'm probably wrong about that. I have been keeping everything on the database, and I've been
good for you.
Typeface samples like you were suggesting. I keep an extensive notebook of all of it. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I know of 11, 12, 13, 14, at least 15 in the house.
Wow.
So.
Nice.
So I'm actually hooked.
Yep.
It happens real quick.
I love that the answer is always whenever somebody says how many typewriters you have, every typewriter collector will say, well, and then go into
right now in visual range.
Yeah,
define the word has.
Yeah.
I was listening to a discussion of that beautiful turquoise. What was it, an Olivetti or?
Yeah, Olivetti Studio 45.
That's the one. And how he finally just told his wife, I've got this machine, and it's really, and she was much more relaxed about the whole thing. So maybe that's what I needed to say, hey, there's another typewriter.
Yeah,
he's slowly training her.
Yeah, that's the thing, is you have to be honest about it, right? It helps.
Yeah.
I did go through that phase, right, of sneaking him into the garage and putting him on the workbench and taking him apart. And then she goes, "Is that a new typewriter?" I go, "Well, I've had it for a while." And a while could mean 3 hours.
Yeah.
Not very honest. So it's better to be honest.
So in the area here, there was a typewriter, second generation typewriter by the guy named Larry Schultz, who passed away last year, and his father is Clem Schultz, and he was the first generation typewriter repairman. And I did an interview with Larry, and he said, Dave, these things, there's only a finite amount of them, and right now in this period in our history, nobody will ever be able to create these. Be way too expensive. And so when you do go and find one and it's maybe a little bit more money, I that's the way that I like to think about it, because you're saving a piece of history from being jewelry or in somebody's garage. There will come a time when everybody, that's the end for typewriters, and we are conserving them.
Right.
That's why it's so heartbreaking when you order one and it arrives broken. It's like, okay, there's another one gone.
Right.
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 I no longer for about 6 years now, I have not ordered a typewriter off the internet. I will not have it shipped to me because I'm so heartbroken when I get one in pieces and I can't restore it to what it was.
Yeah.
And so I feel personally responsible about that when I do it. So
Yeah.
I can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
I like that there's the typewriter, what is it, the typewriter underground or something like that transferring typewriters from hands to hands to get to their destination.
Yes. Yeah. I was doing that meme for a while when we would make trips over to Arizona to visit Ted. I would be saying that I'm smuggling typewriters across the Continental Divide.
But then he never brought me a typewriter.
No.
One way struggle.
Well, I brought my rocket over to Bill Wall, so technically it made it to your area, but it wasn't to
Not
you.
to me.
That's a raw deal. Yeah.
But speaking of the Continental Divide, we have living over right now in Gallup, New Mexico. One of the notables in the typewriter community is Vinny McFeets, if you know his blog, and he now has a teaching job at the campus of UNM over in Gallup. And so he's living right on the Continental Divide now over there, and he's a new resident of New Mexico and living in an RV. And I hope to interview him eventually when the viral situation permits. I'd like to go out there and visit him. But
That would be very cool.
yep.
So what's the furthest everyone's driven to go get a typewriter?
For me, not far.
Yeah.
I've pretty much stayed in town. There was one. It was actually a Canon Typestar 3 that was just in a neighboring city, but I was hesitant to do it because the neighboring city is a little questionable. So I just had concerns about meeting up with this person, and so I ended up not doing it. But yeah.
Well, I drove from Albuquerque to the Phoenix area to Mesa to drop off and then pick up my rocket from Bill Wall over at Mesa Typewriter Exchange. So that's, I don't know, what is it, 600 miles or something like that? So that's pretty far.
Yeah.
That's a haul.
Yeah, you make it a weekend,
Yeah.
You get to go
It's always fun to have you around. So
You go thrift store shopping with this guy. And that's always fun.
That would be fun.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
coffee's ready. I'll be right back.
Yep.
So Sarah, what's the furthest that you've to get a typewriter?
Gosh, I guess maybe 45 miles. Not very far. I know, it's sad. And the thing is, I got this during the pandemic, So most of the machines I have, I ordered online. And only a few was I able to even find like in person thing. And at least in the South Francisco, you can't find typewriters at the thrift store. At least not recently. Well, all the good ones, because I'm a thrift shopper.
Yeah.
And it's I'm still waiting for that day when I walk and find something really cool, from Germany, but so far no luck. I've had to actually order.
French press. Well, I think the more internet savvy a community is, probably the higher the prices are, because people just become more aware of, what they're going for. If you find some little hick place where people aren't really connected to the current social world, you might find good deals on typewriters. It's just like if you go to Central Texas or the Midwest, you find antiques all the time, right? Because of all these old farmhouses and people die, and you have centuries old stuff they're selling, and they're really good antiquing in the Midwest.
Oh yeah.
I do have to admit, because I live in a place where old people go to die, in Arizona,
That's good advice.
I have gotten a pretty serious stream of nice typewriters from people's closets after they, croak out north in the trailer parks. So
They shed their mortal coil.
they shed their mortal coil, and I get all the remains.
That is circling like a vulture. Like, come on, let's.
I do not deny it.
An hour and a half is probably the furthest I'd go. 3 hours round trip. I got a Hermes 3000. I did have it mailed. This was 6 months ago for $5, and then just for $25 for the shipping. It was this model.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Is missing, but $5, and they were really super easy to work with on how to make sure that it got there successfully.
I'll give you $10 for it.
Yeah,
And he'll pay for shipping.
Double your money. No, actually, I wouldn't.
I've got the 70s model.
Yeah.
Worse here, which is
Yeah.
$35 with the tape.
Yep.
Sometimes.
So
Being
David, you're a member of the cult of Hermes now, right?
Yeah, I have a Hermes 2000 here as well, and I've got, this was 35, or I'm sorry, no, pardon me, this was 50, I think.
Oh, wow.
Got this with the SM3. It was at the same house,
Wow.
and that was $100 for both.
Yeah. That's a good deal.
Wow.
Yeah. And I have a featherweight too,
Oh.
and a rocket.
Yeah, you're a cult member. You are.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, there you are.
Hey, all right.
nice.
Yeah,
$20.
yeah. Oh,
Wow.
$20.
wow.
But this
Nice.
farm in yeah, a guy out in a farm in a small town, just like Joe's saying.
Yep.
And he had a couple machines, but this one I was talking about last week, and it's the one that's the earlier model. It doesn't have the
Right.
little indents.
Mhm.
I love the thing, but he said it didn't work and it was decorative only. So I got it for $20. And
I'm
then
going to
I
say,
also-
Matt, the margin.
Yeah.
it's got the margin thing. Yep.
Yeah,
It
it's
was the margin
it's
too. Ed Monk's gonna
the
know
margin
this good stuff.
discount.
Yeah, the margin discount.
Yep. Absolutely. Like the tabs don't.
For the first time cracking one of those open and looking at how the red margin indicators work, and I was like, okay, I'm taking this to Larry because there's no way.
Yeah.
I noticed down in the comments we have Christopher McKellar.
Yes,
who's watching.
yes.
Yeah. Hi, Christopher.
Hi, Kristen.
Hello, Christopher. Yeah, we actually have 6 people watching right now.
Oh yeah, there's
we had
Alton.
7, so yeah, it's a busy morning.
Dalton.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm completely unfamiliar with the margin thing on the Hermes.
Most people are. They're inscrutable. They're not obvious. On Hermes 3000s are not user friendly.
Oh,
They're inscrutable controls.
Yep.
You open it up and it looks like shoestrings. It's just very
Yeah.
confusing.
interesting, interesting. So how does it work exactly?
It's like a Royal
Yeah.
QDL magic margin. In
Yeah.
a
Yeah,
sense.
exactly like
But-
that.
But the paper bale has a red ribbon going through it that tells you where the margin is. And as you move the margin, the ribbon moves to tell you the margin length. And that's the complexity, is that whole ribbon mechanism.
Yes.
Yeah, if you pull the skin off of an H3000, you'll see that ribbon crisscross several times behind the machine itself, and to actually operate the margins.
Yeah.
And it's if you
Right in the-
get it if you get it tangled up or you break it, it is not easy to get back together again.
Oh boy, that's where you just start crying.
Yeah,
Or
pretty much.
you buy Ted's book, you know,
Yeah.
the typewriter repair manual.
Yeah. Interesting. I love me some magic margins, but I don't know about that though.
Yeah.
That was the basis for my first
It's true.
meeting, I think, with one of the typewriter
Yeah.
repairmen.
Ah.
And then I was like, I went into his basement and my mind was absolutely blown. And then he's like, well, let's go over to my dad. I have a ton of pictures because, you know, 2 generations of typewriter repairmen, and they got the tools, everything. It's the coolest. If you guys have a typewriter repair, I know, Joe, you went to see a guy to get yours fixed.
Yeah.
But just the equipment they have and the typers that they work on are so cool, you know?
Yep.
Yeah,
So
the repair
speaking
shop next to where I am is a 3rd generation typewriter repairman.
Yep.
And the shop is literally layers and layers and layers of history.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've seen that.
So I have a friend who lives back in New England. His name is Chris England, and he gave me a Triumph Norm 6 typewriter a few years ago, and he has an enormous collection of Hermes typewriters. He has an entire outbuilding, like a separate building full of his collection. And we're in the process of arranging a long distance video interview. So that'll be coming up whenever he gets his video footage shot. But I've already sent him the questions, and he's going to send me an SD card with the video footage of him giving the answers, and then I'll fake my asking the questions on video and edit it all together. But I look forward to seeing the whole collection he has. But he has, I think, over 100 Hermes typewriters.
Wow.
There's a guy out this way named Richard Molman, and he
Huge collector.
you know Richard Molman? So he would go to the same guy that I would go to, which was Larry Schultz and his father Clem. And Clem had his Hammond. Richard's got some amazing stuff.
Yeah. All of his stuff is on the typewriter database. His collection's up there, and I have seen his collection, and it's pretty amazing.
He snags stuff. I do all the time.
What's Sarah doing over here?
Well, I've been having a lot of technical troubles this morning, so I'm trying not to bother you guys. I'm going to see if I could demonstrate that magic margin or the Hermes margin ribbon.
Ah.
I don't know if it's going to happen this morning, so it's all right.
Okay. Next time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a lot of thing this morning, unfortunately, but it's really cool to be able to talk.
Yeah, it's good to see you and talk with you. Yeah, I need to get my camera situated a little better. I like using this big camera, but it's a little glitchy, and I would like to be able to move my camera around the studio more. So I might try using my little Canon tiny little camcorder that I have, or even maybe a GoPro or something if it would support live streaming. I don't know if it will, but we'll see.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
great
that would be
idea.
interesting.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it looks like Ted is getting something set up there with his Hermes.
Yeah, let's see if we
he's
can.
gonna
Let's see.
Thank
Okay.
Ted.
Let's take a look here.
Okay, so I can. Let's see.
That's how it goes.
Yeah, I'm trying to hold the thing while I'm doing.
So you can see the red margins there on the left and right side of the bail, the red ribbon. Why don't you take it apart live on camera, Ted? Can you do that?
Oh, I don't have the tools here, but yeah, you can see the red going
Yeah, there
back
you
and
go.
forth.
Here you go. All you need.
Oh, I see it.
Like a thermometer is what it pretty much
Yeah.
looks like.
Thermometer.
Wow.
And then
Yeah.
when you
Yeah.
the confusing thing is the carriage release is this green button, and down here is this little silver lever that looks like a carriage release. And so
Yeah.
what happens is people will have it centered like this, and they'll grab the carriage releases,
Yeah,
and
that's
they'll
really
zero out the margins right into the center. And then
yeah.
the carriage doesn't move
Right.
anymore. And so people think it's
And
broken, and
Yep.
and there's your carriage lock discount right there.
Wow.
Don't let the secret get out.
Oh, it's if you
right.
know it, I mean it's so common.
Yeah.
Wow. And
Yeah.
and it's more hidden on there, like on the Royal Quiet Deluxe. You know, it's an obvious feature. It says magic margins.
Right. And you can't confuse it with the carriage release button on a Royal.
Yeah.
What happens with a Royal is the buttons are sitting on top of the carriage, and if you set something on the carriage like a clipboard or something, it pushes those buttons down. You know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There's
Beautiful Piper, Sarah. I've never been able to find that model of Quiet Deluxe. It
yeah.
was in bubblegum pink, but it had a bunch of rust on it.
That's a nice one.
Yeah, I love this. This one I got for $40, and the guy's daughter.
That's a good
was gonna
price.
throw it in. Yeah, I was so excited. It was a gentleman who said his daughter was going to throw it in the dumpster, and she'd had it in her room. It was full of dog hair and all kinds of grime and stuff. But you know, when I find a dirty typewriter that's basically mechanically good, I get so excited. And this one was like that. The only thing that's wrong with it is it's got this back panel issue where it
Oh,
only
yeah.
has a clip on the one
Yeah.
side. So I got the machine, and I was able to get the parts off of that other machine. But in order to really be able to do it, I'd have to like somehow remove the welding, or I'm not sure. There's a little kind of a lever thing. Maybe you guys would know more about how to handle that, but it's this funny little piece like welded on there. And so even if I have a spare part, I have to figure out how to remove it and then re-weld it on.
Oh.
Maybe it's just secure.
I don't. Huh?
I would say maybe secure the piece with a tiny machine screw or something instead of trying to braze it or weld it. Just drill a hole and mount it with a tiny set of, like a 440 machine screw and nut and lock washer.
Okay, that's an idea.
Well,
yeah.
brazing itself isn't very hard.
Yeah, it would just mess up the paint finish when you braze it, where you could just drill some tiny holes with a nice drill and mount a couple little machine screws to hold it. Maybe that's what I had to do with my 1970s Hermes 3000. Is the plastic shell comes apart in two halves, and the little spring clips near the space bar in the front were broken. So one corner, the left front corner, would vibrate when you typed. And so I mounted a couple bolts through with some little brackets, and actually made a couple rubber feet, or bought some rubber feet at the hardware store that threaded through bolts. So it holds the case together and gives me an extra set of rubber feet on the front. So it was just kind of a makeshift thing, but you know, it works.
Well.
Hey, Ted, can I get your thoughts on a weird typewriter that I got?
Sure.
This is from I got this locally for $25. It's Studio 42.
That's not weird. That's awesome.
That is
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah.
Weird. Hold on, you can see.
It is a German Hungarian, maybe, or
It's German.
it's German, but it's a QWERTY. It's not quartz, but it has the accent marks of German. So interesting.
Yeah.
The
Any thoughts,
key
Ted?
tops could have been swapped.
Yeah. Does it type the same symbols as the key tops, like the U with the umlaut above it?
Yeah, let's go.
I mean, the Z and the Y could have been swapped back and forth
I see. Yeah.
by the dealer when it came to America.
You could usually tell by looking at the soldering on the type slug, right?
Yeah.
You could spit if it's not a factory solder
Oh,
job.
no, it's got umlauts.
Yeah, so it was probably a German machine that was brought to America, and then a dealer swapped the Z and the Y to make it into an American keyboard, more of an American keyboard. So unlike this one, this is actually a Swiss German keyboard on this machine. So we have the umlauts and the Y and the Z swapped back and forth. But a lot of times when people brought these into America back when there were still typewriter dealers, they would bring it to a dealer and they would swap the Y and the Z and swap the slugs, and then it would be more of an Americanized keyboard.
Right.
That was much cheaper than buying a whole new typewriter.
Yeah.
I was interested too because it's an Olivetti with, German, it's Umschlauter and all that stuff, for a shift, and I just never seen that before.
Yeah, the 42 was made, in the mid 60s, maybe?
Mm-hmm.
Mid to late 60s. It's probably pretty close to my 45, Studio 45 in design. Nice machine.
Very nice.
No, the 42 is a completely different machine. It's
is it?
It's an earlier design from the 50s.
Oh, okay. Huh. So it's more like a Lettera series, or
no? It would be a larger machine, more like the Studio 44.
Oh, okay.
But I don't think it's the same mechanically as a Studio 44 either. It's a completely different design.
Okay. Wow. Okay, everybody, bring your dogs on camera.
Release the hound.
My dogs are sleeping, so they're right over here though.
We're house sitting a dog. He's with us, a little puppy, so
Oh.
a little bulldog.
So how do you do with pets, Joe?
We used to have a dog. We don't have one right now, but we used to have a chocolate lab. But yeah, we have this little dog for the weekend.
Okay, so. A loner.
A loner, yeah, and he likes to chew on your toes. If you're wearing sandals or going barefoot, he chews on your toes.
Oh.
So that's a win-win.
It's a win-win. That's right.
How about you, Ted? Do you do pets?
I am surprised that I am not covered in cats right now, because normally they are in my lap, they are on the desk, they are very curious about what I'm doing, but they are all asleep right now, apparently.
Okay.
That's a good band name, Covered in Cats.
Covered in Cats. And because I like to wear black, I end up being more like sort of gray at the end of the day.
Yeah. Well, you see, you have to specifically get black cats.
I have black cats, but they have gray underfur. So it doesn't really matter what color cat you get; their fur shows up on your clothes. It does.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
It's one of those acts of God thing.
Yeah, we miss our cat. He would always curl up in the typewriter cases, and
yeah, can't leave those up.
Yeah, there's something funny about cats and typewriters. That's for sure.
Yeah.
They're my case cleaners, my typewriter case cleaners. They dust all the cases when I leave them out.
Yeah,
That's funny.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to go make my coffee. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Excellent.
Again, you guys continue.
We'll change the subject while you're gone.
Oh, that's fine.
Now, I'm going to call out the elephant in the room. Joe, you've gone to vintage black and white.
Oh yeah, that's right. I'd like to do that sometimes. I'm just messing with the camera settings here. Sometimes I go to black and white. There's actually a toy camera setting. If I can switch it here, let's see. Is that cross process? Oh, toy effect. There you go. There you go. There's the toy camera effect.
Uh,
It's kind of overblown out in the middle. I
Yeah.
have to turn my iris down. Oops, too much.
yeah.
And it's kind of purplish colored. So I don't really like it that much. But it's just one of those things that you can do with this camera that's kind of stupid.
Yeah.
But,
Stupid but fun.
stupid but fun. There's bleach bypass. So
How long have you been doing videos, Joe? I haven't been doing your typewriter blog.
well, I guess I started my YouTube channel somewhere around the mid-aughts, maybe 2007 or something. I started doing a couple photography-related videos, and then it got more and more from there. But my video production history kind of goes back to, let's say, spring of 1976, when I was a young guy in the Navy, and actually 1978. Or something like that, 76 maybe. Anyways, I went to TV school in the Navy up in Great Lakes, Illinois. I was already out on the fleet, and I went to my sea school, and I spent 3 or 4 months there. And I had a buddy in my class that had an MGB convertible, and we in our spare time we drove around all the little cornfield roads in central Illinois in his little MGB. But anyways, I learned closer to video in the Navy. I got out of the Navy and started being a electronic service technician, a video technician for over a decade. And I started dabbling with camcorders back in the 80s. And then in the 90s, I started doing a number of like experimental little video stuff I was doing with analog production. This predates YouTube by decades. So when YouTube comes along, I'm already out of the whole analog tape thing. But I have a bunch of old tapes, and I'm going to be slowly getting some of those put up on my channel. But so I have this back history of working with analog production. But yeah, I've been doing this channel more seriously since probably in the last 5 years, I'd say 5 or 6 years.
That's awesome. Yeah, I have a analog. I got some masters up there.
Ah, yeah.
Those were we recorded at a studio in Chicago called Electrical Audio, Steve Albini's studio, which is still all analog.
Is those U-matic or Beta Cam?
Brother, I have no idea. These are audio. Those are audio.
Oh, audio tapes. Okay, yeah, audio tapes. Okay.
So those are audio masters, but then back behind me is all VHS and Beta.
Well, here, actually, let's see. Speaking of VHS, I don't know if I showed this last time, but I have this movie Citizens Band on VHS.
Do a review?
Yeah, I would like to do a review, and I don't know if I'm going to get a copyright strike from YouTube if I do it, but yeah, that's one of those classic.
You can get up to
movies.
3, so.
Can you? Yeah. So anyway,
So
yeah, this was
burn one of them.
This is a Jonathan Demme movie, produced by Jonathan Demme or directed by Jonathan Demme. So it's anyway. We're off
This is
the
a
top.
beta of Star Trek here.
Oh,
Betamax should have won, and everybody knows it.
yeah. Well, do you have a beta player, David?
No.
Oh.
Good
It's
luck
Star
on
Trek
finding
and it's
those.
Betamax. I mean, you just have to get it.
Well, I had a beta. I was into beta back in the day because I went to Sony's beta school. But I had back in the early '80s, Tron came out only on Laserdisc, and I made a copy onto beta. And then I was the only person that had Tron on tape for years before
Pirate.
no, before they Disney re-released it in the '90s or whenever it was. Anyways,
Well, Laserdisc is awesome because that's when we first got director commentary.
oh right, right.
Yes. I very, very briefly dabbled into Laserdisc, but I discovered that a common problem with the Laserdiscs is disc rot.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, which is far less common with CDs, but it does happen. But with the Laserdiscs especially, and you could kind of see, you would look at it and it would look like there's a bunch of holes in the, what is it, like a metallic layer in there embedded in the plastic. Yeah. So, and I never did find a TV that would work appropriately with a Laserdisc player. So I ended up gifting all my Laserdiscs. But I had some interesting ones, like episodes of X-Files and some sci-fi movies and stuff like that. But I very briefly dabbled in it.
The early laser disc players, like the Pioneers, had a gas tube laser, like a helium neon laser, and a big, huge power supply with 100 capacitors in it. And my boss used to work on these, and he was a smoker. And he would take apart all the shields from the laser optics and blow cigarette smoke in it, and you could see all the laser beam moving around. But yeah, those things, you had to replace all the capacitors, and it was like a high voltage system, right? Anyways, we're a bit off topic, Sarah, as you can tell.
Now we're talking about lasers.
Yeah. I think she might be frozen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's picture discs too, but I don't quite understand how that worked. I've seen them around.
I think that was the RCA thing, if I'm not mistaken. It had an actual stylus that actually touched the disc, and it had sort of like a VHS quality to it.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah. I think they called it Activision, RCA Activision or something. Anyways, yeah. Well, we're off topic, so we got to get it back onto typewriters, everybody.
All right. So how does everyone feel about we have the manuals, the electric, and then I also separate the electronic. Are you open to all three, or do you focus strictly on one or the other?
I personally have mostly portable manuals, except for about 6 electronic, teeny tiny little electronic thermal wedgies. And then, of course, I have 3 Selectrics and a Selectric Composer, which are my electrics, mechanical electrics. So that's, I guess I'm sort of focused. That when I dabble beyond the portable manuals, it's usually something pretty special. So
yeah,
that's what I'll go for.
Okay. I love my Smith Corona SL480, mostly since I got the Daisy Wheel is called Micro 15, and that's what I used on the postcard to Joe, so I could fit as many words on the postcard as possible. Yeah, let's see.
Focus. There we go.
Yep.
There you go.
Pretty tiny. Yeah.
You could read it okay?
Yeah, it was good and pretty impressive, actually.
Oh, and that was with the multi-strike ribbon also.
Oh, yeah. Well, so I tend to gravitate toward portable manuals. I have 2 Daisy Wheel electronics that are Nakajima made. They're okay. They're fine. It's just that they have a big footprint on the desk, and they're actually pretty loud. The solenoid that hits the Daisy Wheel is louder than a lot of manual typewriters, so you can't use it late at night when people are asleep.
Yeah.
And then they're big and heavy, but they do have cases that you can carry them in. But I'm like Gregory, of course, because he's sent me a few of these thermals, but I like the thermal typewriters also. And actually, Ted got me started in the thermals when I was over there a few years ago. He showed me the EP20. So Ted is responsible.
Yeah, and then you're responsible for getting me started on it.
That's right.
They're fun little machines. I'm
addicted.
I found my first EP20 in a thrift store in 2015, and I looked at it and I couldn't leave it there. I had to play with it, and then I found out how fun it was, and then I got more of them, and it was they're very attractive little machines.
Have you used the EP5?
I had an EP5 for a while. I found it boring. Because you
don't have the little screen.
Right, you don't have the screen. It doesn't have any fonts really. It doesn't have really anything. It's just a typewriter. It doesn't have any other things going on with it, like the EP20 or the 22 or the 44.
So there's one thing I haven't done yet, but this point of sale label stuff, these packing label that are fan folded, peel off adhesive, these would probably work in a thermal typewriter because they're thermal labels. And it would be kind of fun to make that do like postcard labels with this stuff like this, right, in a thermal environment.
What about you, David?
Oh, I have an electric, but I have no idea what it is. It was a gift from Larry. It's down in the basement. I can grab it, and we can.
No.
We can see
Yeah.
it. I don't know much.
I can tell you what it is.
Yeah.
Take us on a tour of your basement.
Well, it would be like cribs. There is a white whale out there for me, which is the red IBM Selectric one. You know, the right. That's what we
Hunter S. Thompson one.
Hunter S. Thompson.
Yeah.
That's the only one. And Richard Molman reached out to me and said, I have a red IBM. I was like, no, I want the one, though, not the two, you know. That would probably be the only electric that I would buy, but I do own one. I have no idea what it is because it wasn't. But I'm happy to go get it if you want me to.
Yeah, go ahead. We'll identify it for you.
Well, I have a Smith Corona Coronet automatic 12, the electric version of the Galaxy, and it's
Plug-in ribbon.
Yeah, and it has the power return button that shakes your desk when the carriage moves back, you know, and it's a pretty energetic typewriter, to say the least. But I've never serviced it. I've never taken it apart other than cleaning the segment a little bit, but it still works pretty good. And it's one of those typewriters where the type bars hit hard enough that you can use, like, I got some brown ribbons from Ribbons Unlimited, but they're not really dark enough for a manual typewriter. But this thing hits the carriage or hits the platen so hard that you get a good dark imprint with a brown ribbon. So,
oh man, that must be awesome.
Yeah, and it's kind of a coffee colored body style on the typewriter also. So
interesting.
Yeah,
there's nothing better than a good ribbon imprint, I think.
That is a Brother.
Yeah.
GX something, GX 2800 maybe.
Wow.
Yep.
Is that one of those daisy wheel things, or?
I had no idea.
Yes, it is. It's a daisy wheel.
Oh, it's got a little cover that comes off.
There you go.
You seem to be discovering this for the first time.
Yeah, this is honestly the first time I've ever gotten it out of the basement. It was a gift.
Oh, wow.
So that is a perfectly serviceable Brother GX 2800, I think. I can't see any label on it, but
can you flip up the clear panel? Can you see if there's a daisy wheel mounted in it still, or a cartridge? Let's see.
Cartridge.
Yeah.
Nice.
You're set to type.
Yeah. All set to go. And the
how do you guys feel about these machines?
SX 4000 is what it says.
SX 4000. Okay.
Do you guys like those machines?
Oh no.
Because I've avoided them. To me, they're too lightweight. They feel like light plastic, you know. But I don't know. Yeah. Maybe there's something I'm missing that I should learn.
Well, I found that some of them are really poor. They feel really bad, like some of the cheap Smith Coronas, and there's a delay between hitting the key and when it prints. But others are pretty snappy. But as I was saying earlier, my problem with a lot of these is they're just big. The footprint of the machine is big because they have wide carriages, and then they always have to be wider than the carriage and the platen because of the way the print head needs more room on either end. And so it takes up a lot of room on your desk, and then they're not really that quiet because of the little solenoid that hits the daisy wheel is kind of loud. So, but they put out a nice professional looking imprint. It looks like an IBM Selectric, you know, and you can get the various type wheels. So,
so I guess that's the advantage. It's like an affordable Selectric in a way.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go.
Right.
Yeah, for me, is the ability to change that daisy wheel and you know have all these different fonts.
Right.
to me, that's really the only reason to have one. Because I like using the I think it's Order 10. I like using that for addressing envelopes. I use that on the address side of Joe there. I sent him a postcard.
Oh,
so,
cool.
Let's see if we
Oh,
can
that
show
looks
that.
really nice. Wow.
Yeah, they're
It's
not
a beautiful
terribly
graphic
romantic,
there on the right.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's a gorgeous stamp.
Yeah, these were
Yeah.
prepaid cards that Gregory got on the post office website.
Yeah.
Oh, they're beautiful.
Yeah.
I love a good stamp too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, daisy
I don't
wheels
have a
aren't
selector.
incredibly romantic, but they are very serviceable. They work, and they're good typewriters. So
Yeah.
I don't generally say bad things about them.
Yeah.
Oh, let me see. You've got some stamps there, David?
Yeah, these are some.
Oh,
Oh,
fun.
yeah,
What is
yeah.
that?
These are just
Oh,
basic.
wow.
Yeah, they're kind of cool.
That's
They're
almost
kind of
the
like
style of the sort of the Hitchcock Vertigo.
yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's
Wow.
always worth going into the post office and getting some stamps.
Yeah.
I had some
Agreed.
awesome Barry
Agreed.
White stamps last month. So.
Wow,
Cool.
cool. That's
I
neat.
actually get the catalog.
Do you do?
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm envious. Because I always go to the website and look at every single one and try to get something different. Like
Yeah,
the old
on the
Chinese
website-
New Year's from previous years.
Yeah.
So-
on the website, you can actually order the catalog. It's free, but you do have to
Oh,
order
cool.
it on there. Yeah.
I'll have to do
So-
that.
Back to the subject before we get off it of daisy wheels. My friend Kevin, his favorite electronic typewriter is a Wheelwriter, IBM Wheelwriter, and the
Oh.
Wheelwriter allows you to it can store an entire page or two in memory, so you can print out the same letter, the same form over and over again. It has a lot of it'll do justification, full justification, and all that. So it's pretty amazing.
That's
Wow.
neat.
Yeah.
So I guess there are a lot of things to like about those, even though they don't have the same feel that we're used to with the heavy metal.
Right. I think for practical typing, a Wheelwriter is probably one of your best machines if you can get one. But
Okay.
they're not romantic like a manual typewriter,
No.
and they're not portable. They're big, huge. They look like a suitcase on your desk, in terms of the footprint.
Yeah.
Like you show up with that old big giant cell phone and that.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Walkman.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. I remember typing on the old Selectrics in offices back in the 90s and 80s and stuff. And man, I've never had a love for them. And I'm starting to learn to appreciate, that they have a beautiful, crisp type and lots of options. And I've learned also that the daisy wheel, or not the daisy wheel, but the golf ball is actually kind of mechanically amazing. We have a guy that up in Los Altos that fixes those machines, and he said they should not work. Like the theory, the fact that they work is just incredible. So I hate them because they're big and clunky, and they're just such a big beast. But I love their potential and what they're able to do.
Yeah.
And a lot of
I
people
agree.
really do love them.
Yeah, they're the kind of machine though that if you don't use it, if you let it sit around, they break because the greases get hardened, and then if you use them too much, they break through use.
Oh no!
That's why there are so many IBM repairmen still around.
I was just gonna say I'm always running into these guys. It's amazing. I went to ship a typewriter down at our local UPS store. And the guy's like, "Yep, I was an IBM Selectric technician years ago," and and I've run into like 5 of these guys now in South Bay. It's amazing.
Well, the daisy wheel machines aren't as romantic even as a Selectric, right? But they seem to be. They're conceptually how they're designed. They're just a better design. There's fewer mechanical parts. You're running more like stepper motors. There's a stepper motor that runs the print head. A stepper motor turns the platen, and there's another one for the daisy wheel, and then the solenoid. It's just more elegantly simple, so less mechanical stuff to go wrong.
Yeah, I noticed in that typewriter, California Typewriter movie that John Mayer had one of those things. And I thought, John Mayer has one? that machine of all things. He
Yeah.
could get any machine he wants,
makes
you know.
on there.
But it
that.
sounds like that's perhaps one of the reasons, and I'm sure it's quite portable because it's lightweight and everything.
Yeah.
Take it with you when you travel and stuff.
Right. Although I don't think
Yeah.
Tom Hanks may have any daisy wheel typewriters. I don't know if he does. But
Yeah, I don't think he probably does. No, that would be a travesty.
it would be.
It's
would
a
be.
daisy wheel. What are you talking about?
There's a great picture of Bob Dylan using at Olivetti Latera 22, right? You know?
Yep.
Oh.
Yep.
Oh.
That's my favorite part, is discussing authors and what he typed on, because it says so much about, you know, like the physical act of writing, you know.
Right.
Absolutely. That
You guys know-
kinetic.
Yeah, like the Steinbeck,
Mhm.
John Steinbeck's story about
Mhm.
first to type because nobody could read his
Mhm.
handwriting.
Yeah. Or
Yeah.
Woody Allen has an Olympia that's been missing the ribbon cover for years. You know,
Really?
and you think about it though, that's entirely practical because you want to look at your ribbon, right? You want to periodically look and see if it's moving and if it's stuck at the end or whatever. And yeah, and he's written all of his
That's true.
screenplays on his manual typewriter, so that's
Wow.
cool.
Wow, I
And
didn't know that.
He did SM9, right? Wasn't that his
Yeah,
his go?
I think that's right. SM9.
I was going to
So-
ask because when I received this SM3 recently, the cover was off. And I realized that it was because it's just ever so slightly bent that it will pop out every so often because it doesn't have, like, the little hinges are not perfectly formed. And so whoever used it before ended up just taking it off, I think. And I wonder if that may be a similar problem that Woody Allen had, that it was malfunctioning or whatever. Or maybe it's feet. Maybe it all comes down to those rubber grommets, you know?
It may be. Maybe.
Yeah.
I
I
wonder
have a
what
princess that drives me nuts. Go ahead.
I wonder what writer would admit to using a thermal typewriter.
In the heat of the night. In the heat of the night.
But, you know,
If there
you
was
could do the
heat,
whole
though, it would
scroll thing.
erase your paper.
Yeah.
You couldn't use it in Phoenix in the summertime, can you? Can you use a thermal outdoors?
You can,
I mean, just the
but
whole thing would melt right down.
the paper gets gray.
Or does it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
Oh, that's terrible.
Well, you know, if you keep those archived in room temperature in the dark, like put it in a binder, they last for years. I have, you know, thermal typings for years, and they look fine.
Yeah.
Really?
And also, just scan it after you type it.
Exactly. Yes.
Right.
I guess
yes.
that's
Right.
true.
I have old books that I bought back in the 70s and 80s with the original receipts still in them, and the receipts are still
Oh, wow.
readable because they're in the book. They're not in the light, and they're room temperature, you know, in the house. So
Mm-hmm. That's
I
amazing.
actually got a. Let me see if I can make this bigger here. It's a wand scanner,
ooh,
and I specifically got it for scanning the
Cool.
long papers of thermal typewriters.
Oh,
I haven't even
neat.
opened it yet, but
That's neat. That's for all those CVS receipts that Joe
There
was
you go.
talking about.
Yeah.
With the extra paper that comes off.
yeah.
So speaking of scanning long thermal paper, I have tried this with my iPhone. There is a panoramic mode on the iPhone. If you're on the camera, right? And it works to scan a really long piece of typing, but the problem is you have to keep the angle of the phone exactly the same, and you have to keep the speed exactly the same, or the lines look kind of wonky. And so I've been meaning to make some kind of like a slider, like a little rail that the phone mounts on, and it just moves across, and then I can take like a 3-foot long strip of typing and just scan it, and it'll make a super high resolution file, you know, because it's designed to do like a 360 panorama. So
Yeah.
Joe, wasn't On the Road written on one scroll?
yeah. In fact, that scroll about 12 years ago or so was being on tour around the country. And I happened to see it up in Santa Fe, the Palace of the Governor's Museum up in Santa Fe. They had it, and it's like a 100 and something long glass and wood display case.
Wow.
And it's in there, and you can see it's all single spaced. The paper is kind of thin and yellow colored, and every now and then you can see where he readjusted the margins. You know, that's probably the paper kind of went crooked for a while. He would re-straighten it out and all that.
Now, did he have any corrections on it, or was it just no
I
corrections?
didn't see. No, I think there may have been a couple strikeouts, but he wasn't using, you know, like whiteout or anything like that. So he was just using Benzedrine and coffee.
Yes,
apparently.
that'll do it. I think Ginsberg wrote his 38-page poem after ingesting biker speed. It was
that Hal?
that was not Hal. It was it's a poem about his mother.
Okay.
I can't remember that. It's beautiful though, and yeah, he went like 2 days just hammering away 38 days.
Wow. Oops.
Yep.
I really can't imagine the process of writing those essentially book-length poems. It's just incredible.
Well, Ginsberg's mother was in Belleville Hospital, and he was the youngest son, or the youngest child, and he was tasked with every weekend going to Belleville to talk with his mother, who thought he was a spy. Okay, so that's kind of
Goodness.
in Belleville.
That would be so difficult. Wow.
He had suppressed this for years, and when he went to this party, he took this speed, and he went home and he just wrote about everything that he had suppressed for years, and it's just a beautiful poem.
Wow.
Wow. I would love to read that.
And I'm sitting here talking about it. I can't remember the damn name. Sorry.
My wife would know. She's the poet. So.
Oh.
So there's a book called the Portable Beat Reader. If you've ever, it's a good compilation anthology of a lot of the beat artists. It's in my bedroom nightstand, but I saw that book originally at one of the local coffee shops. It was one of these kind of grungy coffee shops with used books, and hey, that's a cool book. So I went and ordered it off Amazon, and
cool.
it's a cool book. Yeah.
The Portable Beat Reader.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
I mean, look at Naked Lunch too, with like William S. Burroughs.
Oh, yeah.
And,
Yeah.
I haven't seen the Cronenberg movie in a long time, so I don't remember what typewriters they actually.
I can't remember.
It was a Smith
Was it
Corona.
an Oliver? No.
Silent was the Clark Nova. A Lettera 22 was the Martinelli.
All right.
And an Arabic Oliver was the other one that it had. So I actually have an article.
A vault of information.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is this on your website? On your blog?
That's cool.
Yeah.
And is it true that Burroughs actually cut everything up at the end after he was done? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Like a collage, right? So it's not necessarily linear at all. Is that the idea?
Yeah, for the book, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
You guys are giving me a good reading list for the week.
Yeah.
Here we go.
It's like homework assignment.
The typewriters of Naked Lunch. Yeah.
There's your Clark Nova. So they replaced they put the keys from a 1948 Royal QDL on the Smith Corona and changed the logo on it. So you can see the tombstone keys off of a Royal.
Oh my goodness, it's a Franken-typer.
And then they used the same keys in the Bug model of the same typewriter.
Oh wow.
Some tombstone keys in there.
And then there's the Martinelli, which is Lettera 22.
Looks like Lettera, yeah.
And that is it going into the fire and coming out as the Mug writer.
Wow.
And then there's the Arabic Oliver.
There's the Oliver. Wow.
Wow.
Amazing.
So Ted, do you know do you know the movie Brazil, Ted?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Oh, God, that's the best movie. I love that.
Right. So
Me
those
too.
video typewriter kind of machines, have you ever looked at their keyboards to see how mechanical they are? Or if they're based on, it looks like they're based on a typewriter of some kind.
They are based on typewriters, but I have not studied them, so
Yeah.
I have not taken that
Yeah.
movie apart.
And I agree with you, Sarah. It is a great movie. That's a fun movie.
Terry Gilliam.
It is amazing.
Yeah.
I love
Yep.
that. Information retrieval and all that stuff.
Yeah. Oh,
Where
yeah.
the office
There's
gets
a lot-
smaller and smaller and smaller.
Oh,
and
yeah.
the tubes that suck everything up. It's
Oh,
so
yeah.
great.
It is. If you-
It's
if
kind
you've
of
ever
how office
worked in
life
an
really
office,
is.
It is,
Oh,
right.
totally.
Exactly.
Just like
Yeah.
that.
Oh, yeah. And then the repair guys that come to the guy's house,
Yeah.
and all the plumbing and ventilation built into his walls.
Oh,
That's
it's all the
hilarious.
duct work and everything is all connected. It's so great.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's
It's a
kind of
great
like the way
film.
our society is now, but more symbolic.
Absolutely. It's scary, isn't it?
It is. It is.
But it's true. Very prophetic. It's like we
Well,
lost. Great-
Yeah. So, Sarah, are you doing any writing projects lately?
You know, I should, Joe. Generally, what I've been doing is journaling about this kind of the pandemic and the process with these typewriters. For each one, of course, I do a typeface sample, and then I write reflections on what I like and dislike about the machine, what's going wrong with it, what the experience is to type on it, and then also I've been doing a little bit of fixing up typewriters for other people, so that's given me a chance to kind of write about their family experiences. I recently fixed up a Smith Corona Model 8. It was this really big beast of a thing with like 12-inch carriage, and it was a family heirloom. And so the woman was talking about how her dad or her grandfather had used it. And then I did another one recently for a family that belonged to a godmother. And when I washed this thing, just tons of smoke residue and everything came dripping off of it. And I said, hey, did your family member happen to smoke? And they said, oh yeah, my godfather was a heavy smoker, and that makes sense. And so it's just I'm kind of just doing that. I used to do creative writing when I was much younger, and now it's really just stream of consciousness stuff. I've got a notebook full of notes.
That's
what about
good.
you guys? Thank you.
Oh, it's called Kaddish. I just remembered. Sorry.
What is it?
Kaddish. Okay.
Yeah, Kadish. Kaddish.
Kaddish.
So we were talking about writing projects, what we're all working on, and I myself have trying to just keep my blog going and writing my own journal, and I have a backlog of letters to answer.
And
Oh yes.
And tapes. Yeah, don't forget the tapes. Yeah, audio tapes.
Oh, that's right. You're doing audio tapes. So I'm a transcriptionist by trade, and I transcribe medical records from audio tapes still, from the microcassettes.
wow.
Yep, that's the stuff.
Oh,
That's
wow.
the stuff. You wouldn't think people would use it still, but there are still some outliers out there that still do it.
So I have an old Olympus transcriber machine, and it's a microcassette base, but it's a big box, and it has a foot pedal to start and stop the tape, and it's from the late 60s, so it's old, and it has this one of the belts in the mechanism is a triangular cross-section belt.
Oh, what's that?
And it's just impossible to get a replacement for. And that's the problem, is that belt is it's hard and glazed, and so the tape slips and it doesn't really play good anymore. But that's the weakness of that design is a triangular cross-section belt. But anyways, I have that transcriber, and I'm not using it, so maybe I can ship it to you, Sarah, if you want to play with it.
Oh, thank you, Joe. That would be fun. I'd enjoy that. Yeah, we've been using the dictaphone machines for years. And I've been on furlough for a bit, but I've used transcribers for years and years, and I still like them. I think it's fun,
Yeah, it's a good way if you want to get into microcassette recorders, is to find a used transcriber machine, because they usually have a pretty good quality mechanism, and they have a foot pedal usually, or something you can start and stop the recorder. Yeah.
Yep. I've been driving those foot pedals for years. They're really, they're great. You'd think that you wouldn't need such a thing, but it's really a cool cool thing to have because you go right back 5 or 10 seconds or just a little blurb, catch
Right.
it. And, you know, for the type of work I have been doing for years, you have to be really accurate. So you don't want to miss a word or, you know, get a diagnosis
Somebody
wrong. It's
dies.
so important. Yeah, I mean, it could, you know. We do go through layers and layers of analysis, but yes. Yeah. It's a neat thing. And I agree. Having something like that when you're making recordings and then to be able to just, you know, sit down at your typewriter maybe and type all this stuff out. That would be cool.
Right. It would be. Well, so I've been in a sporadic tape exchange with Ted there, and it's been like a year since we exchanged tapes. But he sent me some recordings on compact cassette back in his days when he worked in the printing press business, and he has a whole half a tape with just the noise of like Heidelberg press running. And
oh wow, that's awesome.
It is. It's pretty cool.
Very rhythmic.
It's very rhythmic. Yeah, and if I was talented with electronic music, it would be fun to make that into some kind of a beat for some kind of a song, you know.
Oh, totally. Yeah. Very Pink Floyd or something.
Yes. In fact, Ted, you should do that. You should do some music with that.
Are you a musician,
all right.
Ted?
I have been in my past life.
Yes.
Past life.
Yeah.
The rumors are true.
Yes,
Now
they are.
musicians at the keys.
That's right.
Yeah.
What kind of music did you do, Ed?
I was a kind of a punk rock Christian artist
Okay.
Oh,
back
wow.
in the 80s.
Like striper kind of stuff.
More like it was more alternative, not really heavy metal.
Right.
Oh, cool.
It was more noise.
Like Sonic Youth kind of stuff?
Yeah, sort of like Sonic Youth, sort of like PIL, sort of like
Oh, okay.
you know, it was what I was into at that point, and then I was a DJ for a while, and then I stopped doing everything. So, so now I'm a typewriter guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, is there something we can look up like online?
Let's see. Actually,
I think on your
Do you have
YouTube
a-
channel, don't you?
yeah, I've got some on my YouTube channel. So if you go to, let's see, YouTube. Here I am trying to type on a typewriter to get my.
That doesn't work. You need a USB typewriter, Ted.
Yeah, if you go to YouTube and look up Ted Monk, you'll find my personal YouTube that has some old videos, old VHS videos.
Oh,
And,
very cool.
Old MySpace stuff or something.
When I was a younger person without the gray.
Oh,
Yeah.
that will be interesting. I will look that up.
So
Yeah. That'd be
for
cool
your
to see.
entertainment, I don't know how entertained you'll be, but
I'm sure we'll be very entertained.
Yes.
Yeah.
anyway, who else? Somebody talk about somebody else except me.
What was the
Joe,
question
were you a
again?
musician ever?
You know, I jokingly said for years that the only instrument I can play is the radio. But about maybe 15 years ago, there was just up the street from my house was this folk music store. It was right next to my barber shop called Apple Mountain Music. And
Cool.
I bought an Appalachian dulcimer, one of those lap dulcimers, and I took some lessons. I took some lessons with a guy named Michael Carlson, who was a local musician who was teaching. And so I kind of learned how to do some basic folk songs with it, but I haven't played it in a long time. And the thing with the Appalachian dulcimer is it's not a chromatically tuned instrument. So when the song changes key, you have to retune the strings. You know, so you have
That's
to have
a flaw.
you have to have like tablature written in that key in order for me to play it. I don't really play off sheet music directly, but it's kind of like if you have a harmonica, you have to have each one tuned to a different key, right? And that kind of an idea. So
So you'd have to have maybe like 10 hammer dulcimers lined up, all tuned to different keys.
Well, these
ready
aren't,
to grab at the moment's notice.
Yeah, well, these aren't hammered. The hammer dulcimer is more like a harp with hammers. This is just like a little guitar kind of looking thing, like a bigger than a ukulele, but it's a German American instrument. They were designed in Appalachia by the German immigrants. The origin of it. And they usually have 3 strings, but the main string is a double string, so it's actually 4 string. And the traditional way of playing them is you fret the main string and you drone the others. But then there's also ways of playing chords with them with all 4. So
I think it says a lot about you.
That would find one of those.
The first instrument you would go towards, because that's I play a variety of different instruments, and I've never learned to play.
It's like skip the recorder, go straight to that.
I love it. I'm gonna play that thing.
Well, I thought about it had to be some kind of a stringed instrument, and I didn't think I wanted to just go to the guitar. I almost thought of a what's the smaller one that's smaller than a guitar? What is it? Mandolin. I thought of a I thought of a mandolin, and I probably should have gone to a mandolin because they are chromatically tuned, and it's more like a guitar, right? So, but anyways, I picked the dulcimer, and it was inexpensive, the one I got. So
cool.
And there's also cigar box guitars. Have you guys checked that out? Yeah. There's a whole website about that. Yeah. Building your own guitars. They're kind of like dulcimers in a way, right? Because they're usually like 3 strings or maybe 4, and people put like guitar pickups in them and all that. And so, yeah,
that's cool.
But so the answer to your question is no. I don't. I don't really play an instrument other than the radio. So I wish I do. I wish I did.
Oh yeah. What about you other guys up there? Gregory, do you play instruments, or David?
I do, but my music is very experimental.
I like experimental music.
Yeah.
I actually have a music project called Historic, spelled with 2 S's. And it's basically electronic drone music. So it's very experimental. It's not for everyone, but it's kind of something you can put on to like meditate to, relax to, even just keep it in the background as white noise, that sort of thing. So
I don't know. It sounds like you and Ted Monk have something you could build.
I know
there.
we could form a band.
Yeah.
So on National Public Radio has a program that plays a lot of that kind of drum instrumental.
Really?
Show.
So I was going to say one of my favorite electronic musicians on the internet is Heinbach. He's a German guy. And he recently, like a year ago, released a electronic album on microcassette. And that is his album.
That's awesome.
I love it.
Old Sons. So it was a limited release, so I got one of them there. And it even has the little, little thing with all the lyrics or all the information about it in there. So
I love it. That's awesome. That is the tiniest single ever made. Almost.
Yes,
I know.
It's like, remember you used to be able to go buy those little cassette tape singles of whatever band it was. That was the best.
Sorry, David. I think I interrupted you there earlier.
No, that's okay. Names. Don't worry about it. I play music. I've been playing music for most of my life. Different instruments, different bands. A lot of music. I'm fortunate to live in an area where, by Chicago, where you can go see a band. And where I'm from originally is Rockford, which it's where Cheap Trick is from. So there's a bar in Rockford, and if you go there on Monday, Bunny Carlos has got a band. He plays every Monday. There's great music out here, great music scene. Was lucky enough to be a part of it. In my 20s. So.
Wow. Do you know if Bunny Carlos is still on the outs with the band?
He is not playing. Dax, which is Rick's son, is playing.
Yeah.
Drums. But no. Bunny's he's got he just kind of plays every Monday just for fun.
Okay.
So,
That's
he's
great.
Brad Carlson. That's his real name.
Oh, okay. Okay.
If you saw him walking down the street, he just looks like a construction worker. I mean, he's just got a jean jacket. Normal guy,
That's
really,
great.
really laid back. And Rick Nielsen's son is in a band, is Miles Nielsen in the Rusted Hearts, and they play quite a bit out there and travel around a bit.
Cool.
Great music.
Excellent.
That's neat.
Yep.
Yeah. Do you guys know of any other musicians besides John Mayer who write using the typewriter?
Lady Gaga, I believe.
Really?
Yep.
What kind of
She has
machine
some
does she
kind of
have?
It's a manual. I don't remember what it is. It's an older
It's
one.
an
I think it's-
Underwood.
Underwood.
Is it?
It's
Yeah.
an Underwood portable, like
Okay.
1930s or 40s.
yeah, 1930s. It's got the spool covers
Mhm.
with the
Okay.
with the cool Underwood logo on them.
Mm.
Nice.
I'm trying to think. I don't know.
I can't think of it.
And then, of course, there's those the bands that use a
Yeah.
typewriter in the band.
The typewriter orchestra.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh yes. Yeah.
That's kind
I
of
guess-
fun.
I guess it's better than chopping keys off of them, but it's probably pretty abusive
Yeah.
to the typewriter.
Yeah.
It
yeah.
is. I think I saw a clip where they were throwing one down and destroying it, and that was kind of heartbreaking. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So what is
I mean,
Ted doing there?
Oh, I'm putting links into the chat for some music stuff.
Oh, nice.
Okay,
Oh, cool.
excellent. I actually
Oh,
put
thanks.
mine in the chat, so.
Nice.
Oh. I have a poor puppy that's throwing up down here.
Oh
My
no.
cat was throwing up earlier, so we're doing
This
good.
isn't good.
I know.
I hope the puppy that I'm puppy sitting isn't throwing up right now. I'm hoping that's not happening.
I
You never
hope
know.
not too.
Are your cats throwing up, Ted? Do we have a theme going
No.
on here? No?
Nope, no throw up.
We have a cat. She's not throwing up yet.
Our animals are just disgusted at how long people can talk about typewriters.
Yeah.
Just-
That's
Well,
great.
I guess I'm going to get off and go get some breakfast. I like to do this in the morning before I eat, so it makes a good little intermittent fast. I'm fasting with,
Yeah.
with coffee, of course, but
Yeah.
anyways,
We all got our coffee here.
yes, it's nice talking to you guys again, and I
Very
look
nice
forward
talking
to this.
Pleasure.
So, what's going to be
Great
next
talking to you
week's
too.
topic, Gregory?
I don't know. Throw something out because I was struggling with this one. I briefly considered traveling with typewriters, but honestly, I haven't done much. So
Yeah,
Mhm.
we could talk about that. I mean, I've done a little bit of that. So,
okay,
Yeah, that'd
Okay,
be cool.
Maybe we'll do that.
yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be fun. Well, Ted, it's good seeing you, and David, good seeing
Yeah.
you too, and
See
Sarah,
you too.
and of course Gregory as well.
Thank
And
you.
Thank you.
I'll try to get a letter
Yeah.
out to you, Gregory, and reply to you. And
Okay.
Ted, I owe you a tape. Yeah, I owe
Yep.
you.
Yep.
I owe you a tape.
And I've got a letter coming for you.
Okay,
And of course, you got the
That's
book I
awesome.
sent you.
I did. Thank you. And
So-
and David, I got your letter, and I'll get you one in the mail soon, hopefully.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Anyways,
Well,
you
thank
guys
you so much,
have a-
Joe. It's an honor to be able to see you in real person and talk to you guys. So awesome.
Well, it's
Thanks
great
for being
talking with
here.
you, Sarah. Thank you.
Thank you.
You guys
Thank
take it easy. Bye bye.
You too.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. So I guess we're gonna wrap up here. And
Okay.
usually
All right.
it goes for about 2 hours. So
You
yeah,
got
Mhm.
2.5 out of us.
Yeah.
Wow. Going strong.
I really appreciate you guys joining me. This is a ton of fun, and I hope it catches on even more. And I think it's growing, and I'm
Yes.
going to keep doing it as long as there's interest. So, yeah.
Well, thank you very much for your hosting this
Yeah.
and letting us come
Yeah,
on.
thank you, Gregory.
Yeah, thank you,
Definitely.
Greg.
Yep.
You're
you got me
welcome.
out of my COVID shell, so that's pretty cool.
Good.
This is the only
You got me
thing
to put
I've
together a
done
complete
like
computer
this.
just to do
Wow.
this.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yep. So that's pretty wonderful.
All right.
All right.
Well, thank you
We'll
again,
look forward to
everybody.
seeing you next week.
Yes,
Thank
we will
you.
see you
Thank
next
you, Gregory,
week,
for
next
hosting.
Sunday at 8 a.m. Yes.
All right. Awesome. Thanks,
All right.
David. Gentlemen,
Everyone have a
nice
good
to see
day.
you all. You too.
All right.
Happy Sunday.
Bye.
Bye, guys.